Hello, my name is Opal Singleton. I am the president and CEO of Million Kids. We're an organization that combats human trafficking. This is an insider alert. And I want to talk about a subject that is on everybody's mind right now, and that is about the border crisis. Now, I'm not going to get political on you. I've done my best over the last 10 years not to take a political side one way or the other, but this crisis needs addressing. People come to me all the time and go, what do you think? What's going on? Million Kids is combating human trafficking for over 10 years now in the United States. And we have dealt with foreign national trafficking. Now, let me first say something. This is not about the individuals themselves. I myself know many, many people who are not documented or came in undocumented, and I have some close friends that fit that category and people that I care about very much. So this is not about the people. I want to talk about the process. These photos are all coming out right now about the kids that are at the border facility. In fact, even today, they've announced that they're opening up the convention center in San Diego. This crisis is so large. But what I want to talk about is the process of illegal immigration and why this is so important to you. You see, a couple of years ago, the governor of California, my state, declared California as a sanctuary state. As to my knowledge, nobody voted on that. That was just a statement. At the time, I was quite offended by that because we have federal laws, okay? And those laws say we have an immigration process. It's not saying we won't allow immigration, but it's saying we want an orderly process on who gets in. And so for a governor of our state or other states to decide that they're no longer going to enforce a federal law. Now, they didn't say that we had to not overlook all the other federal laws. They just picked this one federal law to say that we no longer have to abide by that. And I believe that any time that you give up the rule of law as a society, you're going to pay a price, regardless of your politics. The reason for the rule of law is to have an orderly process so that people, poor people all over the world, can decide to come to America, but they do it in an orderly process. We make sure they're healthy. We make sure that they don't have a criminal record of some sort. We get to know who they are. And on top of it, there's an organized approach. You see, I've been down to Mexico. I've been to Egypt. I've been to Cambodia. I've been to Taiwan. I've been to China. I've been to Palestine. Okay. And I can tell you that there are poor people all over the world that want to come in that already have relatives here. So I get the process. But what is happening when you create a sanctuary state is you do away with the rule of law. And when a federal government decides they're no longer going to enforce their immigration laws, then the entire society will pay. And so I want to think about what is happening here. Here's some of the photos of the kids that have gotten in that are now in these camps that everybody is showing all the photos of. By the way, one of the first things I notice is while in the evening news, they stick the 6, 7, 8-year-old kid out in front of you, a large portion of the young people who are coming over are males that are 14 to 17 years old. Now, you might say that's, of course, a natural thing because they want to work and send the money back home. However, it is also an absolute recruiting ground for cartels and organized crime. We saw in the last major surge about 4 or 5 years ago that many of these people were connected to MS-13 or other cartel gangs. There was a big bust over in LA, probably 4 years ago now, maybe 5. And there were about 260 some people that were arrested connected to MS-13, Mara Salvatrucha, the gang that originated from El Salvador. And of those that were arrested, 64 of them were unaccompanied minors who were part of MS-13 who had come along in this kind of thing. So the point of having legal immigration is that there's a process, there's a criteria. We can make sure they're healthy. We can make sure they're not paying money to somebody to get in. You should not be allowed to buy your way in through a coyote and put other people to the side. So legal immigration laws are in place so that we have a controlled access and it's an equal playing field. However, when we ignore US laws, then the entry is controlled by organized crime, by cartels, by whoever can come up with the money, by whoever that they can exploit. And so there's no selection process. The cartel decides who gets in. The coyote decides who's going to pay enough and get in. And there is no criteria that can be enforced on the part of the US government. So one of the things that I want you to really think about here is that these people are coming in because they are oppressed. That's what they say, and I get it. Trust me, if you've ever been to Egypt, you get oppression. The Outer Banks of Cambodia, you get oppression. And I've been to Colombia, and I've been to some of these countries, and I get oppression. But here's what's really important. I believe that oppressed people have a right to apply and come in through legalized immigration. But what is happening in here is that you have a system that is very corrupt, and it's corrupt in their home country, and it becomes even more corrupt now on our US land. And so we are introducing crimes that we never would have had before. You see, if you join one of those caravans, what will often happen is they put a debt against your little house. Even if it's not worth much, it's poor, they'll put a debt. And then they charge you. Cartels will prey on you all the way up. They believe that 70% of the girls that came in on that beast train were absolutely raped along the way. In fact, they prepare for it before they start the journey. Because what is happening is you are negotiating with a coyote who is part of a cartel. And so when they get up to the border, what we're not seeing is busloads of coyotes go home. No, they stay over here and then they will charge the individual even more, even if they don't have it. Because usually, if you're coming from Mexico, it's 3,000 to 5,000. Guatemala, it's usually around 5,000. If you're Asian, and there are a lot of Asians coming through the Mexico border, it can be up to 35,000, 40,000. And then when you get here, that cartel or that coyote will say, now I want more money. And who are you going to go to? It isn't like you can sue them or go to court. You've overlooked the rule of law, everyone involved. And so what happens if you're a guy, you're put out to sell oranges or flowers on the street. Sometimes if you're a female, you're put out for sex. And it is absolutely horrendous. So we have sex trafficking that is taking place before it ever gets to our border, labor trafficking, exploitation. Once across the border, now it's happening on our soil. And many of these unaccompanied minors owe money to a cartel. And then they get enrolled in school and they're trying to earn money, or they're being exploited, or they're recruiting others to be exploited. The number one sign that someone is being exploited, if they're from a foreign national country, is that they have to do this or they're going to hurt their family back home. They can and they will. 85% of Hispanics in Southern California have family on both sides of the border. And the cartel is now here because of our open door policy, and the cartel is down there. They not only will hurt the family back home, they will live stream it so you can watch it. So watch out if somebody says, I have to do this, or they're going to hurt my family. So where I'm coming from on this is that the rule of law should be enforced. The minute you break the rule of law, then you're going to have chaos, not just in kids kept in places at the border, but the entire system, because we are we're allowing the cartel to decide who gets here and who gets to stay, including them. And that means the exploitation is now taking place in our communities, in our schools, in our backyard, quite frankly. And it is up to us to understand that and demand that our government, regardless of your politics, obey and follow the rule of law. If they want to change the laws, they can. But for now, we have a law that says that this is illegal. And when we allow that to be broken, then we've lost control, because it is at that point the cartels and the coyotes will prey on those people, and they will do it in our neighborhood. This is Opal Singleton. It is an insider alert. It is my personal opinion from studying this. I hope you'll take it into consideration. You do not have to agree with me to be my friend. I just want you to think about it, okay? Because I know this is a big political hot button, and I try not to be political, but it is important to stop and understand who has the control here. And the minute we give up the control, our society is going to pay that price. Thank you for listening. Our organization is Million Kids. I hope that you will follow our insider alerts. We usually do case analysis and new technologies and things like that. But so many of you have asked my opinion on this border crisis. So now I've shared it. You can write to me at opal, OPAL, at millionkids.org. Put your arms around your family. Let them know you're proud of them, that you love them, and I'll see you on the next Insider Alert.